Hey guys, and welcome to the very first episode of a new podcast we have for you today. My name is Alex Henry, and with me here is my good mate Tom Creaser, who will join me each week to discuss the news of the week and just stuff that generally interests us. Does that sound about right, Tom?
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds pretty cool too.
Today we have a great lineup for you all, including segments on movies coming out this year, whether or not we should all go by Netflix when it comes to Australia, and a scale of 1 to 10, how much of an idiot is Tony Abbott? And if we manage to get through all that, we might even talk a bit about the Oscars. But now it's time to get down to business for our first topic. Tom, what movie are you most looking forward to in 2015?
Well, if I've got to be honest, it's got to be Inside Out, which is coming out in June, and it's the next installment in Disney Pixar's cartoon movies. The premise is that it's like inside a girl's head, and there are like the 4 emotions: disgust, anger, happiness, and another one which I forgot, but it doesn't matter. And they're all like fighting inside her head, and they like display the girl's emotions. And I think that will be just cool because it's Pixar.
Yeah, now I have seen the trailer, and it does look pretty awesome. I'm pretty sure Amy Poehler's doing one of the voices.
Yeah, Amy Poehler, and then Mindy Kaling's doing another one as well.
Yeah, she's pretty big from The Office US, which is a great show. Got some great jokes in there. Yeah, it's definitely one of the ones I'm looking forward to. Big Pixar fans, that's great stuff. But I don't see how you can go past Star Wars as the biggest film for 2015.
But
Star Wars is back in 2015. We have Episode 7. This is massive. We got the trailer just a few weeks ago. We saw the Millennium Falcon was back. X-Wings are back. I mean, Stormtroopers are back. Who isn't psyched for this film?
Crossroads lightsabers as well.
Oh, don't get me started on that. Like, I've heard so many people saying that they don't think it was a good idea, but it just looked so badass. And I like the way they're changing up the new lightsabers. I mean, we saw in Episode 1 the
double-sided one.
The whole double-sided lightsaber. And that was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
and this one's just, it's another new idea.
But they could ruin it even more than the prequels did.
They could ruin it even more than the prequels did, but we have to have faith in them. I mean, J.J. Abrams is a pretty great guy. I love the Star Trek films. I know the second one in particular has gotten a bit of hate, but I thought they were great. I mean, the banter is just great between them, and it's all looking very good. I think we could be looking forward to some great Star Wars films here, and I don't see how you could prefer anything else to Star Wars 7.
Know. I kind of really also want to see Hunger Games Part 2, but that's because I've read the books.
I've read the books too, and I loved Hunger Games, but Star Wars.
But Hunger Games.
Hunger Games. Oh, I did love that scene in the latest one. Sorry for spoilers, those of you that haven't seen it. When the dam blows, that was just
so good.
Such a great scene.
I want to see how they do the Part 3, the war. I want to see how they film that, because I remember when they filmed the war in Harry Potter, that was done like properly. That like actually like had the book inside the movie, which doesn't happen very often.
No.
Which is a really good thing. And I'm also looking at the other movies that are coming out, and Avengers 2. Nobody's looking forward to it, or people looking forward to it. I don't know.
Are you kidding? Avengers 2, I am so psyched for this film. Avengers 2, that Hulkbuster armor is one of the best scenes I've ever seen in the film trailer. Who is not looking forward to the Hulk fighting Iron Man?
Yeah, that'll be cool. I think that'll be cool. I don't know.
Ultron is such a good villain. Is exactly what Marvel's been crying out for. Because whilst they've been having all these great films, they've been heavily dependent on the heroes. Whereas you're seeing DC films have a lot more heavy reliance on the villains. Whereas guys like Joker. Lex Luthor, all those kind of guys. So it'll be great to finally see a good new Marvel villain, and Ultron is just awesome. James Spader has the perfect voice for this role. For those that haven't seen him on the Blacklist, go watch that, because the guy is the show isn't great. Yeah. It's all right, but he's just amazing. It's
the only reason why people watch a show. Is him. What else is there? There is Kingsman, which as we're recording this came out.
I have seen that one, and it's interesting. It's kind of Tarantino-like in that it's got weird versions of the genre. So you see different things that you wouldn't expect in an action film, and there's whole scenes where you're just kind of in shock and awe of what the production crew has actually managed to produce. So it's one that's an interesting visual film, but don't go into it expecting a great masterpiece. However, one which could be very similar in just being an interesting experience, is Pixels. Now, have you heard of this one?
No, I haven't heard of this.
Pixels is an Adam Sandler film.
Oh, wait, I have heard this. This is the Pac-Man one, isn't
Yes.
it? Oh my god.
Now, I am not a big fan of Adam Sandler, and
No,
I think
no one is.
just,
He's the joke of the Hollywood. He is the joke of Hollywood.
he hasn't done a good film in about 15 years since like Happy Gilmore. But this could be awesome. Like, this could be awesome. The premise is that aliens come down to invade Earth in the form of cartoon video games. So back in like 80s, 90s video games from the original ones. And to combat this, the US government hires a bunch of pro gamers to try and take on these aliens. So we get guys like Adam Sandler. I'm pretty sure Peter Dinklage is one of the other ones. I'm so looking forward to that.
Oh my god.
And the guy that does the voice of Olaf in Frozen is one of the other ones. Josh Gad?
Okay.
Yeah, that's him. He's doing one of these guys, and this is the crew that is fighting to save the world from Pac-Man, giant Pac-Man, and those kind of guys. And like,
Oh my god.
it just looks.
It can only be Adam Sandler film.
Yeah, there's only one way they could have got it done, and it just could be awesome. Probably won't be any good, but could be awesome. Of course, we also have Spectre, which is the latest James Bond film.
Which I've only watched one James Bond film ever, which was the last one, Skyfall. I've only watched one.
What?
I've watched no, actually I haven't. I've watched Doctor No and Skyfall. So I watched the first one and I've watched the last one.
You've got to go back and watch the others before Skyfall.
Yeah, but
Casino Royale is such a good film.
yeah, I know. Apparently it is, but I know I didn't like Skyfall. I didn't like Skyfall the first time I watched it, and the second time I watched it, I'm like, okay, it's pretty cool. It's still pretty cool. Some of it.
There are a few
but there are a lot of
points in Skyfall.
there are a lot of like elements of inside jokes and like bits you won't get if you haven't seen any of the James Bonds, like the joke that's like oh, what were you expecting, a telephone or whatever, a pen. There was a joke.
Oh
in
yeah, that's
with,
from the previous
with,
Bond heroes had like awesome technology that could be crammed into tiny little
and
spaces.
even like the car was like a throwback to the 80s Bond films. So I'm not looking for. I'm a bit iffy on that because but I'm not the target demographic for that.
No,
either.
I am the target demographic, so I am totally psyched for Spectre because Casino Royale was such a great film. Quantum of Solace sucked, but they then picked it up with Skyfall, which was awesome, and Adele's theme in that was just great.
Best movie song. Since,
I'm pretty sure it won the Oscar that year as well.
It's the best movie song since 8 Mile.
Oh, 8 Mile. Don't get me started.
And now what else? Now the second film that I'm looking forward to, like the second most look forward to film in my eyes, is Pitch Perfect 2. Don't judge me. It's great. It's great. Pitch Perfect 1 was a great film. I really like the music and like the whole shtick about a cappella. I can't wait for Pitch Perfect 2.
See, we probably should have got somebody on the show that was going to disagree with you on these points because I'm so with you. I'm so with you. Pitch Perfect 2, just like the first trailer was insane. I watched that and I'm just like, I can't wait for this film so much. The only worry I have about 2 is that, have you seen the second trailer?
No, I've only watched. Oh no, I think I've watched both films. Maybe both trailers.
Both trailers. The first one's very solid, set you up well for the film. Don't watch the second one.
Okay.
It's just going to spoil the film. Like after watching the second one, I thought, yeah, it's going to be a good movie, but I know exactly what happens in the movie now.
Yeah.
I know all the songs they do. I know the ending. Like I
have watched the films. Yeah, I have watched the second one. I do remember.
For those of you out there that haven't seen the second Pitch Perfect trailer and are interested in watching the movie, don't see the second trailer. It'll just disappoint you.
I don't usually watch trailers in general, but don't watch the second one.
Right. For our second topic of the day, we're going to try and cover one which I personally am quite interested in, but have very limited knowledge on. With the new ideas of Netflix and Stan and Presto and all these things coming to Australia very soon, there's a lot of choice and a lot of options now, and a lot of people are wondering, including myself, which one should we be going for? Now, I've got you in today because you have a pretty decent knowledge of all this stuff.
Yeah. Well,
which ones do you recommend, and what are the pros and cons of each
one?
At
the moment, there are 3 out of the 4 out now. So there's Stan, there's Quick Flicks, and there's Presto, which are out, and then coming up at the end of March is the all-important Netflix. Now, I'm going to tell you to start off before, I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm going to tell you which one I think you should get, and then I'll go into the reasons why. I don't think you should get any until Netflix comes out. That's first of all.
That's a bold call.
Yeah,
Like,
because as good as all the others are, if Netflix might be better, and it is better in America, and if we do get maybe not half, but 2/3 of the stuff that Netflix has in America, it'd be worth getting over all the others.
So
straight up.
What kind of shows are we expecting on Netflix?
No, we don't have any. Like, we only have some idea on like the types of shows. We don't know how much of the American back catalogue of shows will come to Australia. Hopefully, most of them. But we know that there's Marvel's Daredevil's coming to Netflix.
I'm looking forward to that.
Which is like their like guaranteed, should be like getting people in the first place, like straight up. While the others have things like I know Stan has Better Call Saul, which is the prequel to Breaking Bad, which
we
apparently is Breaking Bad is the best TV show ever made. But Better Call Saul...
we can argue about that another day.
But Better Call Saul should be good, and I have the first two ready to watch. There's others in like... which are like back catalogues of Australian shows, because they're all like part of different like media forms. So I know that one of them's owned by Foxtel, but doesn't have any of the things that Foxtel has, because it wants to separate themselves from this and Foxtel Go and Foxtel Play, which is the more expensive version, which is ridiculous. You have to pay like $125 a month just to get Game of Thrones. What else is there? There's on Quick Flicks you can get things like The Walking Dead, The Newsroom, Suits, Game of Thrones, Boardwalk Empire, but they're all shows that have already been out. If Quick Flicks, however, does get the new season of Game of Thrones up to date, that would change the entire game. That would change everything from like whether people get Foxtel to whether they illegally download Game of Thrones, because it is the highest illegally downloaded show in Australia.
That could be a genuine deal breaker. That one. If they can get Game of Thrones on time, that will get so many people in. Because if you have the power to come home from your day at whatever it was and just watch Game of Thrones and not have to worry about whether or not you're doing it legally, it just becomes so much easier.
It's ridiculous.
However, I've been leaning towards Netflix, and for one reason mostly, my God, House of Cards is good.
But it's not on Netflix.
It's not on Netflix?
No, because this was the whole thing about Netflix.
Netflix coming to Australia.
Netflix wasn't coming, like they weren't sure when they were coming to Australia. So when House of Cards season 2 was announced, they sold the Australian rights, so not the American rights, to Foxtel. So now, regardless of whether Netflix comes to Australia or not, they cannot show House of Cards on there. They cannot show Orange is the New Black. It has to be on Foxtel. And that might not. That they will revoke that right for season 3 of either show, but for the moment, you will not be able to get the two main shows of Netflix on actual Netflix, which is huge. That's huge.
I was definitely leaning towards Netflix.
But they do have things like they might have things like in America. I know they just came out with all 10 seasons of Friends and stuff like that.
That's a big one. Big Friends fan.
So that would be pretty good.
So, to summarise, which one are you recommending? Which one?
I'm waiting till Netflix. If Netflix has any of like at least 2/3 of the amount of shows that it does in America, I'll go with Netflix. If not, I would go with Stan, in my opinion, because I watch Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and I don't watch Game of Thrones. I would go with Stan. But depends what show. You have to say, okay, I want to watch this show the most. Where can I watch this show?
Yeah.
If one of those exclusively has that show, get that one. And if none of them have that show, I don't know. You're probably looking at the wrong show, to be honest.
Okay, well, I guess we'll go with that for a summary. The final thing I want to talk about today is, in Australia we had a leadership challenge just last week. It was pretty entertaining to watch, and several things came from it. One of the things that I found hilarious the most was many Liberal commentators were talking about the hashtag I'm sticking with Tony. And it was started out as a hashtag in support from them saying, yeah, Tony's a great guy, we trust him with our country. But from there it went haywire, and I love the internet because of this, because they took the hashtag and just started posting things sarcastically. And it was great. Some of my favourites were, I'm sticking with Tony because gay Muslim refugee Aborigines are trying to destroy the sanctity of Andrew Bolt's right to marry free speech. And just, don't you just love the internet?
I do, but it was just, that the whole thing, like even from like the moment he like it sparked, which was the knighthood, and through the moment of the knighthood to this was absolutely ridiculous. Like, I know, not when you think about it, the knighthood isn't that like bad of a thing. I don't like when I look at the knighthood, I'm like, okay, it's a stupid thing. It shouldn't even exist in the first place, a knighthood. And the Prime Minister, I don't even know why he has the right to give out a knighthood, yeah. But giving it to the Duke of Edinburgh, oh my God, it's like going down a step. He's already the Queen's husband. Yeah. He doesn't need Sir. It's just adding another title to his name.
Yeah.
And there was like a joke because in our school there they have the Duke of Edinburgh Award, which you can do in bites, which you can do in Year 9. And there was a joke that's like, oh, I'm sorry, it's not the Duke of Edinburgh Award anymore, it's the Sir Duke of Edinburgh Award now. But it's just absolutely ridiculous. And one of the hashtags is, I'm sticking with Tony because as a woman I don't really understand politics. It's just, oh my God. He's just such a stupid move, and from a leader of our country.
The leader of our country. For those that don't know, he did... What was it? Did he recommend or did he actually say that we want to give a knighthood to Prince Charles?
No, he actually gave it.
He actually... Oh, he's officially
gave it to two. He gave it to
him a
two
knighthood.
people. He gave it to a guy called Angus Sampson.
Who's a comedian?
No. Angus Sampson is like different one. He's like head of military. He's like used to be the head of military and done like heaps of stuff in the service. And yeah. And he's like actually like a really good person. And if you're going to give a stupid award to a person,
you may as well give
it to a good person. He
he's the right
was
kind
one
of
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then Prince Charles
is just a waste of time.
So this was so bad that it actually caused one of the backbenchers in the House of Reps to say, we don't like you very much, Tony. We don't think you should be our Prime Minister. So they had a poll and it unfortunately went really well for Tony. Like they won.
It went well for Tony.
It went well for Tony,
but bad for the Liberal Party.
And terrible for the country because it meant he was still in power. But the upside is the budget will be released in May, I believe, and they're expecting that unless that budget gets passed very quickly, we're expecting to see Tony get the boot very soon after that.
There was even just today there were news saying that the backbenchers, so not members of Tony's cabinet, are trying to get the numbers to do it again, and there are rumours going around by next week they'll have the numbers to kick him out, which could be something big, which could mean that the last 3 prime ministers that we've had have been kicked out before their terms are finished, which I hope just pretty much sums up Australian politics.
Yeah, don't you just love Australian politics? And with that, unfortunately, we are out of time for this week. Thanks to all listeners for joining us and putting up with our quirks. And to you, Tom Creaser, for the energy that you bring to our conversations. Feel free to join us next week when we will be discussing the news of the week and whatever we find interesting. I've been your host, Alex Henry, and I'll see you next time.
Bye.